Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. And I don't usually get into the political thing, but what the hell, why not? And it's really not political per se, but we're going to talk about the United Airline story. David Dao getting dragged off that flight. That's just crazy. Get dragged off because he has to be somewhere to do his professional job. It's not like you can just, paying the guy $800. They offered him $800. I love the news stories. Some are like, oh, they offered him $1,000. Yeah, I just watched again somebody talk about it, and it was his lawyer said $800 is what they offered to David, and he didn't get off. He didn't want to leave. He couldn't. He has patients to see. His wife is also a physician. She has patients to see, because obviously you're not just going to leave. Your spouse is going to go with you, right? You're on the trip together. You're not going to separate. So they're going to offer only $800 for two people to leave. Bullshit. That's not what you do. You keep raising the price until people get up out of their seats, because at a certain price point, people will say, hey, you're going to pay me $2 grand? Yeah, I'll get out. Now, I guess the Federal Aviation says, $1,350, but the airline can go as high as they want. And, and there's been cases where an airline will pay thousands upon thousands of dollars because they really need the seat. And eventually people will be like, oh, I'll go, right? But remember, if you're ever asked to get off a plane, disembarked, and you paid for that seat, I don't think you should have to be forcefully taken off. You're a paying customer. The flight's not overbooked. That's myth. Having flight crew needing seats is not being overbooked. The plane was never overbooked. I wish the media would stop that bullshit. That's flight staff stealing seats for themselves because they have to go fly a plane, or whatever the case is. They're going on vacation. It could be anything, really. But that's not overbooked. So get that through your minds, the people that are out there like, oh, it's overbooked, it's overbooked. No, it's not overbooked at all. That's not the same thing. Overbooked is when there's more paying customers than there are seats. Then at that point, it's pretty much first come, first served. I got there early, I got on, and then you showed up. I guess that's tough shit. I mean, I feel sorry for you, but, blame the airline, and the airline should not overbook. I think once a seat is booked, and if somebody doesn't show up, it shouldn't matter. I paid for the seat. That person paid for the seat. They didn't show up. It's still their seat, whether they fly or not. They should be charged. There should be no refunds. Nothing. You shouldn't be able to get out of that seat so easily. Now, if you paid the extra insurance to be able to rebook and this and that, you paid the extra insurance to be able, a higher ticket price to have a ticket that you can, change around at the last minute. Hey, that's built in the price, right? So that seat is still paid for, technically. So to double dip on a seat is also bullshit. So they dragged him off the plane, smashed his face into the armrest across the aisle, broke his nasal cavity, busted out 2 teeth, in concussion, and dragged him out. That's why he seemed like pretty much just, he's limp. At that point, he's knocked out. He gets dragged off. At some point in the terminal or whatever, the jetway, he somehow gets loose or something and comes running back on. You see that other video of him just kind of rambling, want to go home, and then just kill me, and he's hanging on to the curtain. People keep saying pole. It's not a pole, it's a freaking curtain. Have you never flown a plane, people? God, the media is like retarded. But he's holding on to the curtain, and he's just, at that point, he's just out of it. Supposedly, his lawyer said he doesn't even remember running back on the plane. But The guy's going to need reconstructive surgery for his nasal passage, nose, and teeth, missing teeth. So he's pretty much scarred for life. Also mentally scarred for life too, because that's pretty dramatic. Some people will say, well, shouldn't he have just got up and disembarked the plane when asked? Why? He's a paying customer. He paid for the seat. It's his seat. He wasn't causing an issue. He wasn't causing a disturbance. It was his seat. Supposedly they say that it was randomly picked. But okay, the guy originally stood up, was thinking about taking the voucher, and when they said the next flight isn't until tomorrow at 3, he said, no, I can't do that. I have patients to see. I have to go. Sat back down. Now they run a random pick for a passenger, and it happens to come up on the guy that just said no. I find that very hard to believe, and I wonder what the statistics would be that it would be the same guy. So I think that at that point the airline was like, we're going to take him off. They were just being dicks. I don't see that they have a random method, and what's the code behind that randomization of their computer system? I would love to see that. Do they actually really have a button they can hit and it will go through or randomly pick? But avoiding families, which would be easy to do writing a program, you would just, if there's more than 2 people, it's probably with a child, right? So you could knock those out, not have them pick those, because now you have a whole group of people, and you got kids and you need to be places. But you're a working person, you need to be to a place too. He needs to be back to I think it's Elizabethtown, Kentucky is where their practice is. He needs to be back there to treat his patients. So he has a job to do. He can't just rebook. And at the price they're going to pay him, that's not enough money for how many patients he would have to reschedule, the hassle, and all that. He has a whole business to run. So he can't just, he's going to lose more money than what they're going to offer for the $800 by possibly losing patients. So he's not the ideal candidate to pick. The other thing I want to get to is the police. It's a civil matter. What are you doing? Now, if the roles were reversed on the airline, I was at the gate and they had overbooked or gave my seat to a flight staff, and I called the police and the police show up, they're going to say, sir, this is a civil matter. You're going to have to take them to court. I'd be ticked off, and that's all they would do. So, roles reversed, and in how it really happened, in this case, he didn't want to leave the plane. He was fulfilling his part of the contract that he had paid for, because at the end of the day it comes down to what did he sign. Yes, it says they might be able to pull you off the plane, but that's a civil matter, a breach of a contract, because he doesn't want to leave the plane. The police should show up, look at his ticket, be like, you have a valid ticket, you're not causing a scene, hey, anyone around here, is he causing a scene? No. Then they should have went up to the pilot and said, we can't remove this guy, it's a civil matter. If you, the airline, want to sue this guy for breach of contract, then that is your right. But we're not going to remove him because that's not our job. This is a peaceful situation. I would advise you guys to pick somebody else. So that's all that the police needed to do. They didn't need to show up and be like, you want that guy off the plane? Yeah, we want that guy off the plane. Okay, we'll pull him off the plane because we can't think. I wouldn't even want to be the officer involved in that. I would have showed up and been like, guy's not causing a disturbance, there's nothing here, it's a civil matter. Now, the airline might be ticked off about that, the pilot might be ticked off, but they can easily pick somebody else or raise their price, and somebody will volunteer to get off. You don't drag people off the plane, and the people that are trying to support United saying, hey, they can do that. It's in your ticket. Yeah, and if I breach the contract, that's a civil matter. That hasn't anything else. You know, take me to court. United, take me to court. That I did not leave that seat as per the ticket contracted, you know, agreement at the time of purchasing that ticket. They're not going to, because, you know, they'd have to sue a lot of people, because people would be like, no. You know, and it's not really the guy, David Dao's fault that they I almost did it. They were not overbooked, but needed to get crew members from one airport to another airport to get a plane going. Why don't airlines, if they're gonna, some airlines will pay big money. You can get a charter flight. Why not just put your crew on a you know, charter business plane and get them down there? You need them there ASAP. So in the end, this flight is delayed 2 hours because they had to disembark and clean blood, look for blood, clean it, all the blood up, any spots. I'm sure, you know, that takes time. I'm sure they had a black light looking for spots and had to clean it and make sure it's all sanitary. And then reload people and go. It took 2 hours. So the airline wasted a heck of a lot of time by dragging this guy off. True, they didn't know that he'd bust his lip and bleed and this and that, but even at just dragging him off, it still takes a little bit of time and it's delayed and you're missing your window for takeoff. It takes time. It's not like a plane can just leave and take off. They leave the terminal at close to a set time, and then they have a time that they get to, you know, take off, especially at a busy airport. So they're, you know, sometimes in planes, you know, you might, when you're looking out the window as they're kind of taxiing out to the runway, there might be 5 planes in a row, and you're all kind of in a traffic jam, pussing up until you do the loop, and then you can take off. Seen that a lot flying in my life, and this is why also I don't fly. I rather not. You might be like, well, but what if you need to go somewhere? I drive. I go to Tennessee. I drive. I go to Michigan. I drive. I go to Florida. I drive. I prefer driving because it's just a hassle going to the airport, and there's a lot more to that than just this case. But I'm glad to say that if I only ever fly a couple more times in my life, awesome. There's so much to see in the United States, in Canada, and Mexico that I don't really need. Where do I need to fly to? I don't know, people feel they need to go to Aruba, and I need to go to Hawaii, and I need to go to Europe every year, and this and that. Shit, I lived in Europe, I've lived in Africa, I lived in Pakistan, I lived in Mexico. I don't need to go traveling around. I don't really care. You know, I've lived in those countries, not just visited, I've lived. So a little bit more culture than the person that travels. And they go to this nice, pristine resort, and they think they know what the local population is like. You were just at a resort in the Dominican Republic, and you never left the grounds. Anyways, I hope this David guy gets a ton of money. Oh, and the other thing is the smear campaign. So they look up, so United looks up this guy's history, or does research on him, and they get the wrong David Dao. Now, I'm not good with Asian names, but names are completely different to the guy that was injured on the United flight versus the guy they ended up researching who was also a doctor but did something like traded drugs for sex or something? I don't know, something. And, which, who cares? If it was the same guy, who really cares? That still doesn't entitle United to drag you off. It doesn't even matter if you're a felon, you're a pedophile, you're an armed robber, you just killed 2 people. It doesn't really give United the excuse to drag you off. Now, the whole idea behind doing that and giving this false information is to make the general population feel like, oh, well, oh, he did that, oh, I don't feel as bad now. It doesn't really matter if he did, but it's the wrong guy. And so now that's out there and people are like, oh, but this guy did this. And it's like, no, he didn't. And it's been corrected. But at the same time, I think it was the Daily Mail or something. So, you know, one of those joke news sites. Just like half the news sites out there are just jokes. But can't even do the proper research, puts it out there, and then does a retraction of, oh, wrong guy. Of course, people don't see the retraction. So now they're like on the Facebook, you know, news site saying, hey, this guy's a sex addict or whatever. And it's like, hey, it doesn't even matter if what the guy did. You still can't beat up the guy, drag him off the plane like you did. So, you know, it doesn't matter what he might have done in the past. Maybe he's had speeding tickets, so does that matter? No, it doesn't matter. Different cases, different situation, not related. Has nothing to do with being dragged off. So guys, I just wanted to get my opinion because I'm just finding this whole overbooking thing fucking ridiculous. Nothing was overbooked. They were stealing seats for employees, United employees, so they could fly wherever that might be. Of course, they're saying they needed to, you know, they were flying to take a plane, but you know, fly another plane, but maybe they were going on vacation for all we know. We really don't know. I mean, because employees fly for free, so they might have just showed up at the gate like, oh, hey, you know, okay, hey, we need seats. And they do that. They do that type of shit. So if you ever get asked to leave, you can demand that you get $13.50 in cash or check. You don't have to take a voucher. Cash or check right at the gate agent. And because your suitcase is on that plane and they're not going to go running, you can get up to $3,500 for clothing. Not to mention being put up in a hotel, rental car. So if you know your rights, tell them, hey, well, I'll get off, but you know, you're going to give me $13.50 in cash. I want it in cash. That's your right. You can do it check or cash, but you can say, I want it in cash. The gate agent doesn't have that power, so they're going to say, let's put you back on, and we're going to pick somebody else. That's what they're going to do. You don't have to take a voucher, and I find that very interesting in researching all this, that you don't need a voucher, guys. Demand your cash, and then tell them you're going to be buying clothes, and you get $3,500. In fact, I want $3,500 so I can go buy some clothes. Make it cost them, because if they're pulling you off, because especially if it's an employee taking your seat, then that means they need to make some big money somewhere else to have that employee on there. It's an urgent matter, then they need to pay up. So guys, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, check out my other videos, and have a great day. Take care.